All right. So we are in week 3, lab 2. The first question is create a database and use it. Now, this may sound like the basic thing you can do, but most of the students miss doing it. So let's do create database lab 3. Now, I think this is a fresh schema. I deleted everything, so this should be fine. Use, okay, lab 2-3. Let's lab 2 revision, use lab 2 revision. Okay. Now, a question that everyone asks is what's the difference between this icon and that icon? Now, this first one is you run what you select. Okay. The second one is you run what you click on. So it runs one statement at a time only. Okay, so just keep those two in mind. This runs what you select, this runs only one table. If you don't select anything and you run this, you will get an error. See, it tells me that the database is created, okay? Because it runs the entire script. Okay, what is the first thing we write when we create a table, regardless of whatever is create table? We call it whatever we want. I think it was called boxing. And then parentheses, close, semicolon. Okay, so this is the basic. Then let's go see what our columns are. So create a table, boxing events, based on the below columns. So I'm going to copy all these columns. Copy. Paste. If people are coming in and I'm busy and not noticing them, let me know, okay? So remember that in the naming, we cannot have a space. So I'm gonna call this event ID. And I think the type is integer. We're gonna go back to the types. Now, every column is separated by comma. Country should be maybe varchar. I'm gonna do the basic, okay? And I want you to do the same thing. If you don't know how to go about anything, just copy all the columns, give them a data type, separate them by comma, okay? That gives you some mark at least. So let's call this varchar 50, and then we'll come back and add a stuff. Varchar 50. How do I know the data type? Well, it's pretty obvious, no? City is a string, country is a string, and 50 is random. Venue name is a string, varchar. So now, what you could do as well is look at the example and get an estimate of how long it is, no? So if we look at that, it's around 20 chars. So I'm gonna just put 25, okay? Comma, remember, everything is separated by comma. Ticket price. Price usually comes in decimal point, no? Decimal. Now, I don't know what to do. It's a price and I don't know what to do. Again, you just come back to this and say, this is the price. And that has 5 digits, 2 of them are decimal points. And I look at all of the examples I have, and it's roughly the same thing. So we need to have 5 digits, 2 decimal points. Yeah, so decimal, 5 and 2. You know how the decimal works, right? The first one, let me just put that as a comment. So when you say decimal, the first one is total number of digits, comma, precision digits, okay? Or decimal digits. Digits after decimal point, digits after decimal point. Okay, that's the format. Discount, I think it's an integer, but we'll go back and check. Sold price, again, we cannot have a space, so I'm gonna just make it sold price. I think sold tickets, that would be real, no? I cannot have a negative seats sold. So when you don't have a negative, you always use the data type real. Boxing date, it's obvious, it's a date, isn't it? And then boxer 1 is the person who is boxing. So it's a string, of course, because it's a name. So I don't know how long a name would be. I'm just gonna go with 50. Char 50. And then gender category. So that would be male, female. Let's have a look. We have F and M. So if it's F and M, I'll make my life easy. There are two ways to do this, no? One is to use enum. And then in parentheses, we say it's either F or M. So when do we use enum is when we have a limited list of values that we can choose from, okay? So we have a limited list of values that we can choose from, which is either F or M. Then we use enum. Then there is another way to do it. You could do this, but then again, this is advanced. It's not for this lab. You could say char1, and then check, I think it should be in parentheses, check gender cat in either F or M, okay? So both this works. It's make sure that the values are either female or male, either through enum or through a check statement, which we covered in lab 3. Weight scale, what is the weight scale? I think it was an integer, but it cannot be negative, so I will go for real. Contact person, I'm sure it's a name, and it can be varchar 50. Remember to separate every column with a comma. Contact number, we're gonna make it varchar, because if you make it an integer, it will give you an error that it's beyond the number that integer can take. Okay, so it's varchar, I don't know, 15 maybe, because we know the contact number doesn't go beyond something. So contact email, again, it's another varchar 50. Okay, so the last one doesn't have a comma. Now, this is the most basic thing. Yeah, you should do this to at least get some grades. Then we go to specification and what it describes for us. Event ID, 4-digit number used to identify each event. When it says identify each event, means this is the primary key, okay? Anything that we use to identify something is the primary key. Then it says a country can be one of those countries. So I cannot have any country. Now you guys tell me, when you have a list, a specific list of values that you can choose from, what is the data type we choose? Here, we had that here, no? When we have a list of values and we cannot choose anything else but that, then we use enum. So we come here and say, country is not varchar, it's actually enum, yeah, and these are the values I can have. And I always need to put strings in single quote or double quote. Okay. Again, you could keep it as varchar and add a check condition, okay? But that was not meant for this lab because it was not covered yet. So we're gonna stick to enum. Then city is a string of 50, value is a string of 100. So if I put any other number, I'll change that. Yeah, so let's make that 100. Then we have ticket price. We did that already. Discount cannot be negative. It means it's cannot be 0. If no data provided, should be set to 0. If no data provided means if a person forgot to enter, it should be 0. So there is a default value here, which is here, no? So here, this is called a constraint, yeah? When you limit the values or set a default value. So we say default 0. I think I misspelled it. Right? Default. Okay, default 0. What else we got? Sold ticket cannot be negative. If no data provided, should be set to 0. We do the same thing, no? So no data provided, it should be set to 0. It cannot be negative, so discount, it said it cannot be negative, so I need to change that to real. And this one also default 0. Okay, you can stop me anytime you feel there is something I'm doing that you're not catching up. Okay, boxing date must value must be provided all the time. That means you can never leave it without a value. How do we do that? The constraint is called not null, means always, you almost always need to give it a value. Okay, so this is not null. Then what do we have? Boxer 1 must have a value, Same thing. If I say it must have a value, all I need to do is say not null, because by default it can be null. Okay, not null. Okay, and then gender category can be only one character. So now, since this is described already, this is the one I need to use. I need to use this part, char1, but it doesn't tell us that it has to be, yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like that based on the description because this was not covered yet. Weight to scale is a number and the rest you're good. Okay, we don't have anything unique here. Venue must be provided all the time. Make sure there are no event scheduled on the same day. How do you say that? On the same day, we cannot have 2 events. So the date is what tells us where the day is, no? So the date here, boxing date, should be unique. Okay, you can list them the constraints, you can list them one after the other with a space, not with comma, just a space. So this is one way to do it. The other way to do it is to come here and say unique boxing date. Copy, paste. Okay, you can do both of those. You need a comma here. Okay, so now that we're done with the table, let's just quickly run that. It got created. Now the reason I didn't get any error and it got created is because I did it step by step. I didn't rush into things. Okay, so now task 2 is insert a statement. All I need to do is copy paste this and then run it. Oh no, I need to do a lot of fixing. Okay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna copy this from the solution, okay? Because that is not what I want to spend time on. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy it from here. I think insert a statement doesn't need a revision. All you need to make sure is this, because very similar question might come, is that those quotation doesn't work. If it's a string, you need to put it in a quotation. Yeah, and those quotation doesn't work, so you could do replace all and then fix that. But we're gonna take the easy road and just do that. Okay, all inserted. Now, when we write a query, well, let's do a little syntax review of the query, which is we always have this.
Excuse me, miss.
Sorry?
I have a question.
Yeah.
In the data that we're given in the Word document, the first value is repeating. The value 1116
Oh,
is
yes.
repeating.
It's because this 1166,166, no? This is one of the things you needed to fix. Yeah, so it was not by mistake.
So are we allowed
I
to just
haven't
modify
inserted yet because the question, yeah, you can do that because the question says fix whatever needs to be fixed. Yeah, so before you do the insert, you need to change this to maybe 5, okay, and 6, or if you get an error, just change that to 7 later on. That's a very good question. Something similar to this might be in the lab test. Yeah, I'll trick you. I'll give you something that doesn't work and you need to know how to fix it. So it was not a typo, it was intentional, and it says fix whatever needs to be fixed. Yeah. The reason I put that is for you to know why or how the primary key works. The primary key means I cannot have a duplicate ID. Yeah. So if this is a duplicate ID, that means it's wrong. Change it. Okay. So very good question. So going to the select statement, we have select column name 1, column name, and if you have more than one column, you just separate them by comma. Okay, column name 2, column name 3, and so forth. Okay, so you separate them by comma. So after select, you have a list of columns. And if I want you to select everything, if all columns, then you use asterisk. Okay, you don't mention them one by one. What comes after select is from. After from, always table comes. So for this lab, we're not covering 2 tables. So I'm going to just keep it as 1 table name, where then you have conditions. Okay, what is the format of a condition? Condition always follows this format. You have a column name, you have an operator, and you have a value. Okay, column name, operator, and a value. Remember, when I say something is, if I say gender is all the boxers who are male, you just look which column has the value male and female. You put that one here. I say is, so that is equal. What is the value I look for? Male. Okay. And if you have more than one column, what you do is you continue this. You use either and or to combine the conditions, and you continue with another one, column name, operator, value. Okay, so it's always column name, operator, and value. Just keep that in mind. Then we have order by, which is for sorting. Okay, order by, again, follows by column name. If you have more than one column, you separate them by comma, column name, and you can also say descending if I want it from the highest to the lowest. Now, if you remember this and put it somewhere and always follow it, you get some part of the query done. Okay, and in lab 4 and 5 we develop on that, so we add more tables, we add group by, and so forth. All right, now keep this in mind and let's do all the questions. So the question I ask myself before I solve is this. Yeah, I usually do this and say, columns I need, which table they come from. Okay, display all boxing data. Which column I need? All. All means asterisk. No, so I put asterisk. From which table? Boxing. So I'm gonna call boxing. Now writing a query is easy, because now I know right here that it says select. What is the column I want to select? Is a star. And then from, which table is it from? Boxing. Yeah, it makes it easy now. It's easy to go through that. Okay, so that's all. Now we'll repeat the same thing here. Okay, display all boxing data sorted by. So if I repeat this few steps, what do I want to show? Everything from boxing. Okay, now here it says sorted. When I have sorted means what? Sorted means I have to use order by. Yeah, then here I would say which columns. The first column is ticket price. Ticket price. Yeah, and it's in what order? Ascending or descending? Descending. No, it's from highest to lowest. So again, once I get this part done, writing a query is easy. So I say select which columns? A star. From which table? Boxing. Do I have a condition? No. Am I sorting? Yes. Then what do I add? Order by. What am I ordering by? Ticket price descending. I'm just gonna copy that. So if you do tickets, if you do queries step by step, wait, what is this? Boxing. Okay. If you do queries step by step when you start, you eventually get faster at it. Okay. But start it like this so you know what you're doing exactly. So let's go to next question and we do the same step again. Okay. Until you get used to it. So columns, tables. Okay. And then here we see if we have conditions and then sorting. So we have those 3 questions to answer, okay? So which columns show list of venues? So I say venue name. Where does it come from? From boxing. Boxing. No duplicates. So I need to put here no duplicates. How do I do no duplicates? There is a keyword called distinct. Okay, so I add that here. As boxing venue, so I'm giving it a name as boxing. Since I cannot have a space, I'm gonna put that venue. Okay, along with the country and city. So which other column I want to add? Country, from which table? Boxing. Another one is city, from which table? Boxing. Am I doing anything with them? No. Are located in order by country, then city. So do I have a condition? No. So no where condition. Yeah. So I'm going to remove this. I don't have a condition. Do I have sorting? Yes. Then I need order by. What goes in order by? First by country, then by city. So I would write here country. How do I separate them? I look at my syntax and I say, how do I separate them? It says column name, comma, column name. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. It's country, column, city. Since I do not have any descending, ascending, then I'm just gonna be happy with that. Now, all I need to do is put this into this format. Select column from table. I didn't have a condition and order by. So let's do that. Right here. So select. What are my columns? Venue name. Okay. But what is special about it? It has to be distinct. So venue name has to be distinct. Okay. And then what am I calling it? Boxing venue. So distinct as boxing venue, comma. What else? I'm gonna have country. What else? I'm gonna have city. I'm not doing anything with them. Then I will list my tables from which table is boxing. Do I have a condition? No. Do I have order by? Yes. I'm just gonna copy the order by statement. Okay. Spelling. What is it called? Venue. The spelling is wrong here, not there. Okay, we're just gonna stick to that. Okay, so this is the name, and this is the name right there. Okay, do we get how to go about it now? It's easy, no? If you do it step by step, it's not difficult. All right, let's do the same thing. How many boxing events are happening in Dubai? Okay, how do I get how many? So let's do the same thing so you know how to go about it, okay? Column, table, right? Now my column says how many, okay? Which column is in the how many events? It doesn't matter at this point, but let's say how many events. How do I get how many? So there is an aggregate function called count that gives me how many. Yeah, that is the count, this one. And then here, since we're talking about events, we put the event ID, which we called event ID. Okay. So how many becomes count? So how many becomes count? Event becomes event ID. And this is coming from which table again? This is coming from boxing, of course, because we have one table, okay? Are happening in Dubai. What does that mean? Do I have a condition? Yes, when I have a condition, what I do, I put a where, yeah? So what is the format of a condition? Let's go back to our syntax. It says the format is column name, operator, value. So let's go to that. What is the column that has the word Dubai in it? Let's go back and we see that there is a column called city. So the column I look for here is where, was I here? Yeah, where city. So where here, I will put the format, okay, and say column name, and operator, and value, okay? So what is my column name as city? What is the operator? It's happening in Dubai, so it's equality, yeah? What is the value? This word Dubai, no? Now, the question is, can I put a string just like that? The answer is no. Strings always have to go in single or double quotation. Or any other city. How do I say any other city that is not in UAE? How do I do that? It's not UAE, right? So there is another condition, which is, what is UAE? UAE is a country, no? We know that. So if I follow this, what is my column name? Country. What is the operator? Is not. How do you say is not? By either this or this. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna put one of them. What is the value? It should not be UAE. UAE. Is it a string? Yes, then I will put it in a quote. Okay, now the question is, I have two conditions. How do I combine them? I don't know. So I will go to my syntax and say, if I have more than two conditions, there should be and or. Okay, let's see which one is needed. It's this. Or any, it says or, right? Or any. So I put an or. Easy, no? So I don't need this anymore. What I do is I will just put this in my select statement. Select, what am I selecting? This one. From which table? Boxing. Do I have a condition? Yes, and this is how we form the conditions. Let's run it and see what we get. 5 of them, okay? Now, if you think you got it, I can go a little faster. So shall I go a little faster or shall I go on the same slow motion? Just raise your hand if you want to go a little faster.
Oh, slow motion.
Sorry? A little faster. Okay, so we will skip this part, okay? Because I think by now we got that. Okay, so let's come here and do the select statement directly. Select. What am I selecting? Show boxers and venue details for boxing event. What is boxers? Both. We'll look at this and it says boxers. That means boxer 1 and boxer 2. So I'm just gonna put boxer 1, comma, boxer 2. What else? Venue details, anything that is relevant to the venue. How do I know that? Again, I come here and say venue has a name. What else do we have? That's it, no? A venue has a name, it's a country and a city. So I need all three because all three means a venue detail. So I'm gonna come here and add, I think the venue was misspelled. So I'm just gonna copy it from here and nobody told me you're misspelling. Okay, venue. So country and city. These are all part of the venue details. For boxing events hosted in UAE means something should be equal to UAE, right? With weight scale, now we have that. Weight scale should be equal to 150. Okay, so after select, we have from, which table? It's boxing. Since we have a condition, I add a where here. What should be UAE? Where the UAE value is coming from? It's coming from the country column. UAE is string. I'm going to put it in this. When we have more than two conditions, we have to separate it either by or by and. And in this case, it says in UAE with the weight, that means it should be an and, okay? So if I spelled everything right, this should work, okay? So there is only one, okay? We're clear? I'm gonna move, I'm moving a little fast, okay? Because we have another lab to catch on. Show price, so select, what am I showing? Price. Discount amount, it's called discount. Price after discount. So now this is tricky. I'm gonna add a comment here, okay? Because I have price after discount, yeah, and I'm gonna call it price after discount. And what is that? How do I calculate it? I have a price and I have a discount. If I divide the discount by 100, it gives me the percentage, right? Price minus this amount is the price, the discount that I get. Let me give you an example. So let's say the price is 200. Price is 200. Discount is 10%, okay? It's 10. How much I should deduct from this? So I say price minus discount divided by 100, which gives me 200 minus discount is 10 divided by 100. Yeah, this would give me sorry, this is price multiply and then we deduct it. Okay, price multiply that. That means the amount I need to deduct, right? So that would give me 20 dirhams. Yeah, this is the discount I get. This is not the price. What is the price now? So the price after discount becomes, so this is price minus this, okay? So the price after discount becomes 200 minus 20, which becomes 180, okay? So we get the formula. Sometimes you get a formula, okay? So how do we do that here? The same thing we did there, yeah? So price minus price multiplied by discount divided by, so we need to do this as well, because you know the arithmetic operation orders, no? So if I don't put this in parentheses, it will multiply the price with the discount first. What I need is to get this first, multiply it by the price, then deduct it from the price. And I'm going to call this as price after discount. Okay, so this is still a column. Boxers, how do we say boxers? Is boxer 1, boxer 2, boxer 1, comma, boxer 2. I'm gonna continue here. What else I need? I think there was the contact person and contact person detail. Contact person detail means everything to do with the contact person, which is contact person, number, and email. Okay, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna write it. Did I miss a question? No. So contact person, contact email, and contact number, was it? Okay. Now, we're done with the select from boxing. Do I have a condition? Let's read. For female boxers, yeah, so let's do it one by one. First, it has to be female. Since I have a condition, the first thing I do is add where. What is female? It's a gender. What do I want it to be? Equal to, what's the value? F. What's the next condition? Which are for weight between these two, okay? So the weight has to be 150 or 65. So weight, a scale equal 150. This has an or already, so I don't need to worry too much. And weight scale equal, what was it? 65. Now I have few conditions. I need to how to combine them. So the first one, the last one is or, and this one is and. Okay. Now, if I have something like this, again, remember the arithmetic operation. If I want this to happen first, then I have to put it in a parenthesis. Okay. So I want this or to happen first, then this two to happen. Okay. Spelling, what did I do wrong? Let's see. Is that
It's in contact.
contact email? Where is it?
Contact number.
I have contact. There is something else. Let me column price. There is no price. It's ticket price. Okay, so you always need to go back to your table and know what your column is called. Okay, so it's ticket price, and then discount, I believe, is the same. I'm gonna move this one here as well so you can see it. No, don't give me error again. Is it, which one is missing? There's another price. See, this is why when a student gets the answers in one go, I always wonder where they are copying it from. Gender, is it gender category? That's why. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Yeah, sometimes you need to be careful with the names of the columns. Show the maximum and minimum price. So select. What am I selecting? Max of what? Of the ticket price. I think I have that copied as, let's call it max price, comma, what else am I selecting? Minimum of what? Of the ticket price as min price of boxing event in a single statement. That's it. Yeah. From boxing. How? Why was I so nice? Okay, so the maximum price is this much, the minimum price is that much. Show the total and average of sales. So let's do that. Select. How do I get total? Which function will give me total? It's called sum. Okay. And which column will give me, which function will give me average? It's called AVG from boxing. That's all I need, okay? But let's call as total as average, okay? Now, it says of the price, use discounted price. Again, we go back on how we calculate the discounted price. Now I will save time if you don't mind, and I will do that, okay? Which is this, price minus discounted price. So I'm gonna give me the sum of this and the average of that, okay? I'm not explaining it because you already did it, okay? So the sum is this, the average is that. Do you guys want me to explain this part again? The ticket price minus.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. How do
Yes.
we? Okay. Let's go back to math and not worry about this. If I have something for 300 and I tell you discount is 15%. Yeah. Price equal 300. Discount is equal 15%. Mathematically, how do you calculate it? How do you get this? How do you get the answer? First, get the amount provided by the discount, no? Like how much this discount will give me, isn't it? And that would be price multiplied by this one, 15%, isn't it? So what is 15% of this? Yeah, that is the amount I need to deduct, isn't it? So how do I get 15%? All I need to do is instead of having the percent sign, I need to divide it by 100, isn't it? So price multiply, this will give me the discount amount, which is 15%. If I deduct this, if I multiply this by the price, I will get the amount that needs to be deducted, yeah? So the price is 300, multiply 15 divided by 100 would be 0.15. If I multiply this by 300, it will give me 30, no? No, more. It will give me 45. This is math, okay? So I'm gonna skip that. So what is 15 of 300 is 45. Now, this is the amount that should be discounted. That means if I deduct this from the price, I get the discounted price. So discounted price equal price minus deducted minus amount provided by discount, okay? Which in our case is 300 minus 45, okay? So we do the same thing here. Now remember, we put this in parentheses. We need to do the same thing here, yeah? And then this minus this would give me the answer, yeah? So all I did is I converted the math into column names, yeah? So this is my 300 multiplied by 15 divided by 100, yeah? So this is how it's done, okay? Is it clear now? Who had the question? You usually get this kind of questions, yeah? Like deduct or update by some percentage. So it's a very typical question. So if you don't get it, I can explain it again. I'm not a math teacher, but I try my best to make it understandable. Was it okay, the person who asked?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, all right. 2 more questions here, which is good. So what do we have here? For all the boxing event with sold tickets less than, now, we remember, so we're done with the queries, okay? Remember those syntax? where was it? Remember those for the answer, okay? Select from where, order by. If you follow this and you follow this breakdowns, yeah, then you always get some marks, or you always get part of the query done, okay? So let's come back here. Now we have an update statement. Remember, for update, you need to always run this first, okay? Then, what is the syntax for update? We do the same syntax sheet for update, okay? So we say update, sorry, I need some water. Update. Here we have table name first. Update table name. Okay, it could be other names, many names, but for this, just then we have set column name equal value. Okay, always goes like this. If you have more than one column to set, you separate them by comma and you add the same thing. Column name equal the new value, okay? And then if you have where condition, you just put it. Now, this part is what we did in select a statement, no difference. So I'm just gonna copy it from from here, okay? There is no order by when we do update. Again, like this coming week, we're gonna build on that, okay? That is, we're gonna have multiple tables updated at the same time, blah, 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 blah. But for now, let's keep this simple. And we'll follow this to answer that. For all the boxing events, so which table we want to update? Boxing. Update boxing. Yeah? I will put set, but I'll come back to it because I don't know what I'm doing yet. But I know there is a condition. Yeah, this is my condition. So I put where for all the boxing event with sold ticket less than 250. So where sold tickets, what's the operator? Less. What's the value? 250. Now, here is what I need to set. Reduce the price. So what am I changing? Ticket price. Set ticket price equal by 15%. The formula is exactly the same. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this since now you know how to work with that. But we will do a little change here. Okay, so ticket price minus ticket price, but instead of discount, what do we have? The number 15. Okay, now since mathematically we know the answer for that, which is 0.15, you could do that. Okay, there is other ways to do it, yeah, which is multiplying it by 1.15, but let's just keep it simple and doable for now. Okay, and so we have one more field to set. How do I separate them if I have one more field? By comma. What's the other field? Add 5% to discount. So the field that I want to update is discount. And what do I need to do? To add 5. Adding 5 to what? To the current value of the discount. So whatever it is, add 5 and give it back to the discount. Okay. Was that clear? I felt like I went too fast. That's okay. Got 2 rows got updated, so we're fine. Okay. Shall I explain again, or was it clear enough? Again, I didn't do anything. I just followed the formula here. Yeah, or if you want to call it formula, okay, or the syntax cheat sheet. Now, what is the syntax cheat sheet for delete? For delete, again, remember the syntax cheat sheet and you will always get something done, okay? The syntax cheat sheet for delete is delete from table name, because when we're deleting all the rows, right? That matches, I mean, the entire row that matches that condition. That's why I cannot mention any column names. In the update, we have column names because we need to find a value of a column and then change it. In where condition, I am selecting a specific column for that row. But when we're deleting, I cannot just go delete one column. That is alter table. That's different. Okay, we're just deleting the entire row, which means all the columns, which means I do not need to mention any column names. So delete from table name. And if you have a where condition, you just put your where condition. As simple as that. Okay. So let's come here and see what we're deleting. Delete all boxing events. So delete from which table? It's boxing. Do I have a condition? Yes, it says hosted within August 2022 to February 2023. So what is the condition? Where do I get this? August 2022 and February 2023 is which column? First of all, I have a where condition, so I have to add that. Yeah. Which column gives me this? I think it was called boxing date. Okay. This boxing date should be either greater, equal. How do I write a date? Is like this. First, you mention the year, then you mention the month, which is 08. Since we need it to be from the August, so from first date of this, okay? Or it should be greater than equal to this. There is another better way to do it, okay? So I'm gonna copy that, paste it here, and then say less than equal February, which is 2. The year is 2030. I forgot this. And then it should be the last day of February. This is tricky because February is 28 days. Yeah. Okay. Now, another way to do between two values, yeah, is to use the keyword between. Now, this was mentioned here, but was not mentioned in the Word document. So I asked Miss Amal to give mark to everyone because that was my bad. So the other way to do the same thing is to say delete from boxing where date between which value? Between this value, sorry, copy, and this value. Both of them do the same thing. One is using the between operator, one is using the arithmetic operator. Okay? That's what I meant by do it in two different ways. So this is using arithmetic operator. This is using between operator. I'm gonna run one of them only. It doesn't matter which one. Yeah, 2 rows got deleted. So this is the revision of lab 2. If you guys don't have a questions, let's continue with lab 3. Any questions? No questions? So let's see, what do we have? Week 4, lab 3. Let's get that open. I'm gonna save this and we don't need this. I think I will upload this one for the answer sheet, okay? Because it has explanation. I don't think we need you anymore, so go away. So here I'm gonna use create database lab 3, use lab 3. Don't tell me I did that on the earlier one. Well, no, okay, use lab 3, okay. It says convert the ERD into schema, and then you need to keep those in mind, okay? First, let's quickly go through our note, which was made by a very nice teacher. whose name is Asma. Da, da, da. Not you, not you. Don't save. We don't want to save you. ERD to schema and advanced DDL. Okay. What does it say here? Every class is a table. That means all the boxes will become a table. Okay, and you need to create table statement for. Create a new table for many-to-many relations. Add all attributes with that. Okay, so let's stick with this part and not go beyond and then solve this question. Okay. There are two boxes. That means I need one create table here, one create table here. So let's do the basic. Copy. Create table. What was it? Project. Create table employee. I think I will call this emp. Let's just call it employee. And these are my columns. I need to be very careful with my column name. If there is a space, I should get rid of it. E-name is varchar 100. Since I don't have an explanation about what it is, I can do whatever I want. This is EID is integer, and it says it's a PK. That's wrong. It should be ID. Oh no, this is not the example we want to solve. My bad, sorry. It's called a staff. Why nobody's telling me I'm solving the wrong thing? Voice out your opinions, guys. When people are doing something wrong, just tell them you're doing the wrong thing. So we're creating table staff. And these are the columns I need to create, okay? And I'm gonna stick here to this, and I will explain what is ID1 and ID2. SID is integer. We'll come back to this, okay? Let's just forget it for now. S name is varchar. Again, always install simple, yeah? All the columns get separated by comma. Gender is char1. I'm gonna keep it simple for now. No complication. Hourly rate is real. Let's keep it very simple because there is no specification, so I'm gonna keep it the simplest I can keep it, integer, and then rating is integer, and email is varchar 100. Okay, last one does not have a comma. What does ID1 and ID2 means? Means I can choose either this one or this one to be my primary key. Okay, so I could say here, so I'm gonna do a comma here and say primary key. I choose either of them. Let's choose this one, SID. SID, okay? What do I do with the other one? The one that I do not choose, now I can remove that. The one I did not choose as a primary key, I need to add unique keyword for the email. Okay, so why is that so? ID1 and ID2 means that either of them, these are the candidate keys, the set of attributes that can be a primary key. Whatever we choose as a primary key, we just make it primary key. The one that we do not choose as a primary key, we still need to tell the system that this is unique and should not be repeated, because that is what we call a candidate key. A candidate key is an attribute that should not be repeated in any of the columns. If it's mentioned in one row, should not be mentioned in the other row anymore, okay? Now, to make that happen, this is called a constraint, no? To make that happen, one is primary key, the other one becomes unique key, okay? So that's it for that. Now we do this, and we will explain how we convert it, okay? Now you could add a name to this. You could say add constraint unique email, and this is the unique key. Oh, not add, my bad. Constraint, unique, and this. It's up to you. If you want to give it a meaningful name, you do it with that. If you don't want to give it any name, you just do it with that. Okay? So let's create this. Guys, if you have questions, you have to stop me, okay? Key column. SID. If you have questions, please let me know. Okay, then we do create table project. Okay, and then I add all the columns, and then I'll do the same thing. Okay, I will ignore everything for the time being. Oh, there was, oh, no, that's okay. So this one is an integer, comma, name is varchar 50, comma, budget is integer. Because no description is there, I'm just gonna leave them. Mode is varchar 50. Okay. Domain is varchar 50, comma, duration, I believe that should be an integer. Okay, and the company should be varchar, no, it's a name, varchar 50. Okay, now, what do we do with the IDs? When the ID has the same number, okay, so here I have ID2, means they together can be a primary key. What do I mean together? Means I need to put them in parentheses, P name, combined with P company can be a primary key, okay? So this is one option for the primary key. So I'm gonna get rid of this. So if it's the same name, the same number, you put them together and separate them with comma, okay? This is one option. The other option I have is the PID. Now, question is, how would I know which one to pick for the primary key? Always pick the one that has less number of attributes. Which one has less number of attributes? The PID. So I'm going to make this primary key. The one which was not a primary key, what do we do with it? We make it unique. Okay? Yeah, forgot to remove that. Any questions so far? No? Okay, just run that. What else we got? Now, let's go back to our description and see what does it say. So we did the attributes, yeah? It says for each table, choose one of the candidate keys as a primary key. We did that. And the rest of the candidate keys must be unique. That's exactly what we did, okay? We'll come back to this on question 4, the weak entities. So what is left is it says create new table for many-to-many relation. Okay, let's see. Do I have a many-to-many relation? You guys tell me, is this a many-to-many relation? Of course it is. That's many. This is many, right? So this is a many-to-many relation. I have to create a new table for this. What do I call it? Whatever I want. So create table many-to-many. You can do that, okay? Or you could give it a good name and say assigned to, okay? Or whatever you want to do. So this staff is assigned to that project. Okay, what do we do here? We list the attributes. What are the attributes in the many-to-many relation? First thing first, just look if there is some attributes hanging on that relation. Is there anything on this relation? Yes. What is it called? Hours. So I'm going to put hours here. Yeah. What's the type? Let's just put it as integer for now. What else? I don't know what to do anymore. So I will go back to here and say, what does it say? For many-to-many or relation with a ring attribute or associate class, copy primary key attribute of all classes involved in a relation. Okay? copy the primary key attribute of the classes that is involved in the relation. So let's see, what is the primary key here? Because first the question is, which tables are involved in the relation? Both the staff table and the project table. So I'm gonna go back to my machine and say, hey, staff table, what's your primary key? It tells me my primary key is SID. And I say, let's do a copy. So I'm gonna copy that here. Then I go to the other table, which was linked, which is project, and say, what is your primary key? It tells me my primary key is PID. So I'm gonna copy it, just like that. Okay, I think I forgot to open a parenthesis. Then what do we do? I don't know, so I'm gonna go to the note. Because every table must have a primary key, no? To a new table. The primary key of the new table is a combination of all primary keys from the other table. We know how to do combined primary key, no? However, sometimes you need to add some other attributes. In this case, we don't need to, yeah? In this case, if I say SID, PID, I believe it should be more than enough. So what is the primary key here? Primary key, it says a combination of the keys we copied. Which keys we copied is the SID that I copied from the staff and the PID that I copied from the project table. Am I done? No. Why? Because I need to tell MySQL that these two attributes are copied. Yeah, because MySQL does not see that I am doing a copy and paste. How do we do that? There is something called a foreign key. Yeah, so foreign key means whenever you're copying something from another table, you add a foreign key. Then I say, which of those attributes that I have in this table was copied? So is SID copied? Yes, SID. It's copied from which table? It was copied from the staff table. Okay, parenthesis again. And which attribute in the staff table was copied? The SID. So what we're doing here is establishing a link. And what we need to do is add the keyword references. Okay, so what we're doing is we're saying, this guy is a stranger to my table. It's not my baby. I'm just getting it from somewhere else. References means now go create a link. I'm getting it from this table and it is linked to this guy. Okay, so let's quickly see how this is working in Excel. Maybe I think I've never used that, but there is always a first time. So we have a staff, there is SID, there is a staff. I'm not gonna write everything. SID, name, age, whatever, okay? Then there is a project which has PID, name, okay? Then we created this new table. Insert, okay? We created this new table called assigned to, and we say this one has SID, and this one has PID, and this one has hours. What now? They are three independent tables, right? In order to tell MySQL they are linked, what we're doing is we're adding something like, I can do draw. I'm saying create a link between these two and create a link. Oh, Control Z. I did not know I do that. I could do that between these two. That means the SID from here is linked to the SID from a staff. The PID from here is linked to the PID from staff. And how is that done syntactically is by using the keyword foreign key, references, the table name it comes from, the key we need to link to, okay? Then we do the same thing. for the, okay, then I come here and say PID, do you belong to me or did I get you from somewhere? It says you got me from somewhere. So foreign key, then I put PID. Where did I get you from? References. You got me references. You got me from the project table. And which column in the project table are you pointing at? I'm pointing at the PID, okay? Just like what we did here. So this PID pointing at that, this SID is pointing at this, okay? So we're establishing this link. Now our table is linked. Then, are we done? I'm gonna do this 2 different ways so you can see how you can do constraint. You can give it a name, yeah? FK project, and you can say constraint, let's leave this one. Yeah, you can see it's done differently, okay? Am I done? No. Why? Because I need to know now that this is linked, now that these guys are linked, yeah? So now let's go back to typing. Can I go back to typing? Hello? Okay, so let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, and here we have 2, 2, 3, and here 2, 2, 4. And this assigned table becomes 1, 2, 3 is working on 2, 2, 3, and for 3 hours. This guy is 1, 2, 4 is working on 2, 2, 3 for 2 hours, and then 1, 2, 4 is also working in 2, 2, 4 for 2 hours, okay? Now, what happens if this guy, if this staff, let's give them some name. This is Asma, this is Ali, and this is website, and this is mobile app, okay? What happens if Asma leaves the company? Yeah, so I want to remove this guy from this table. Yeah, what happens to the records I have from this guy in the assigned table? What do I do with this? Do I delete it? Do I keep it? Do I say do not delete anything if you have a copy of it somewhere else? What do I do? This is what we call assertion, is when we have a link, yeah, and we're copying some value from one table to another table, what happens if this gets deleted or updated? So if this gets deleted, what do I do with this? Do I delete it? If this becomes 1 to 5, do I update it? What do I do? Now, for weak entity and is a relation, it's always on delete cascade, on update cascade. Okay, so remember, weak entity is a relation, it's always on delete cascade, on update cascade. And where do I say this? I need to say it in the assigned table, no? Because this is where I established the link. I did not get the link here. I did not establish the link here. I established the link here. So in this table, I need to do something that tells me what to do with this if this is deleted, what to do with this if this is updated. The same thing for the PID. Weak entity is a relation, always on delete cascade and update cascade. What about the other cases? You need to read the description. Yeah, it's not a rocket science. You cannot get it yourself. What does the description say? It says if an employee leaves the company, that means deleted, his working details are preserved, means do not delete it. That means I need to keep this record. Even if this gets deleted and leaves, I still need to know that he worked in this stuff, okay? I need to get my hands around this. So where do I say that? Where did I copy the stuff? This is the line where I established the link, right? So where I established the link, here is what I say. I say on delete, what to do? No action, because it says preserve it. So no action means preserve it. Don't do anything, okay? What about on update? It doesn't say anything, so I'm just gonna leave it as default. Okay. What about the project? So if this project is cancelled, 224, what happens to those 224 that is working in that project? Do I say that 124 is still working on the project because the project doesn't exist anymore, no? So what does it say? It says, if the project is deleted, records on which employees are working on the project gets deleted. That means I have to come here and say, if this gets deleted, again, you go to the table where you establish the link, you go to the part where the link is established and you say on delete, cascade means if one gets deleted, delete the other one. Okay, so this is called assertion. Now we can create that too. We didn't create the first ones. We don't have this SID. SID. Did we create this already? Let's have a look. If it gives me error, it's created. Okay, now the third question is just an insert statement. So again, I'm gonna copy it from the solution file because I do not want to waste time. Come on, go away, all of you. Okay, I don't want to waste time on create table statement. I don't have it solved. Why I didn't bring the one which is solved? Hey, madre mia. Okay, then we have to do the insert statements. Let's quickly do that. Oh, where was I? I keep clicking on this. Stop it. Here. So it says add those to the right table. Now we know which one is the right table, the one that has a staff project and hours. I'm just gonna copy and we'll do quickly an insert statement, comma, comma. I don't think we need this for the next questions. Yeah, we don't need it. So I'm gonna skip this, okay? I'll do one of them. Insert into assigned to values this, okay? The rest you do the same thing. So I'm gonna skip this for now. Yeah, the thing is I had some queries as well, but then we decided not to do queries in this lab. Make sure details below all is stored, and that's where you do this one. Sorry. What is that? Control X. Here. Okay, done. This is about changing the table structure. Okay, using data type, make sure the project mode is on-site, online, and hybrid. How do we change? So we created this table, we populated it with some data. There are thousands of rows, and now I decide to do something on the table structure. How do I do that? The syntax is always this, okay? So it's alter table name, and then action object, something like that. Okay, so let's yeah, then action object. Okay, so what do we have to do? Using data type, so I'm changing something, I'm altering something, alter table. Which table is it? The project table. Alter table project. Okay, using a data type, I'm changing a column value, no? So the question is, what am I doing? Yeah, what am I doing? I need to change column data type because it says data type, no? I don't know how to do that. So what do? I come here and say, my beautiful sheet, how do I change a column data type? change column definition and data type. That's the one. What's the syntax for that? Alter table, table name, modify column name, column definition. Very easy. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it here for a reference, and then continue with that. Table project, which column do I want to change? The mode, yeah? So alter table, what is the action? The action is called modify. Modify, okay. What is the object that I want to modify is the column name, which is mode, yeah. What do I want to do? The new column definition. Since it's asking me, how do I list values? Which data type will allow me to do that? Which data type can allow me to list values? Enum, right? Then in parentheses, we'll just list the values. I think this should be, yeah, okay, it's fixed. On site, then online, then hybrid. Okay, so that's it. And just run this. Okay, and tells me I have, what is it called? My column, P mode. Okay, yeah, I prefix everything. So the column is called P mode. Okay, you're done. Then change the name of column. Again, we go to the same questions, okay? The question is, which table I'm altering? Table that I'm altering is, change the name of column P duration to P week. I think that's, I need to find out where those columns are. It's in the project, yeah. Which object am I changing? The object that I need to change, object is column P duration. The object is column, yeah. And what are those? P duration. And then the other one is P weeks. I'm changing the name. So this is the column I want to change. What am I changing? The name. How do I know how to change the name? Again, I come here, change column name. What's the syntax to change the column name? I'm just gonna copy that for my reference and paste it here, okay? Column duration should be changed. So change name. So this is action, sorry. Says this. The action is change name, rename. The action is called rename. Action is rename. And the syntax for the action is C1 rename to C2. Okay, that's the syntax. That's how it goes. Column name, rename column 1 to the new name. Okay, so that's it. And no, there is another one. So another object is, so I'm gonna add the other object I need to change. Object is column P budget. P budget. What do I want to do with this one? I also want to change the name to P cost. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Action is rename, and it's again the new value is P cost, and here let's just change that. The new value is P, this is P weeks, P weeks. Okay, so now all I need to do is, what happened? Okay, P weeks, convert this into alter table statement. So alter table. Which table? It's called project. Which object I'm updating? I'm updating duration. Object P, duration. What's the action? I'm renaming. And what's the syntax for the rename? I just need to say to the new name. What now? I need to do another one. So every time we have another column, another action to do, we just separate it by comma, and I need to repeat the same thing. Okay. So the repeat means I need to say, what's the action again? The action is rename. Which column am I renaming? This is P budget, and I'm renaming it to P cost. Okay. Now sometimes this gives an error, and that's okay, unless I'm doing something wrong. Alter table, table name, rename. Yeah, I am. Rename column, rename column. So here, alter table, table name, action. Sometimes you need to mention the object type. Object type. Okay, so here we're saying we're renaming the column. Some of them have to have the object type. Then I do that and it's done. Change S rating to S rate and data type to decimal point. How do I change both the value and the data type? It's called change, I think, or yeah. So if I use the keyword change, I can do both of them. So I'm gonna copy that again. Copy it here again. Do you guys want me to finish the whole thing, or shall I skip it to the last question? Because it's now 1.5 hours. So alter table, which object am I changing? Which action do I want to take? I want to change on which object? On the column. And which one is that? Which column is that? The original name is S rating, and I want to change that to S rate. So S rate, and then the data type, I want to make it decimal. Some of you have made it decimal earlier, but that's okay. I think it's 2 and 1. Okay. Alter table. Alter table. What's the table name? My bad. Project. Oh no, this is a staff, no? This is a staff. Okay. So we're changing the column. Which column is S rate? This is the new name. I'm just following the syntax. Put the new name, put the column definition. This is the new name. This is the new definition. Okay. This is easy. You just need to know which syntax to use and then change it. Make sure the hourly rate is between this and this. How do you put a condition? Is something called a check statement. Okay. Again, maybe you don't know. Yeah, here it tells you there is a check statement. Okay, and there is an example. So how do I add a constraint? This is where I add a constraint. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the syntax here and I'm gonna follow the syntax. So alter table, which table am I changing? It's salary. Salary is in staff. What's the action I'm taking? I'm adding constraint. So this is my action, add constraint. Okay, what's the name of this constraint? I'm following this, no? I call it whatever I want. So check salary, something meaningful. What is the constraint I want to do? So in parentheses, we say check. Which column am I checking? I'm checking the hourly rate. I think it's called SH rate. And it should be between 150 and 500. Anything else? And the salary cannot exceed. So I said, if I want to add more, I'll just separate it by comma. And I say, what's the action? Again, I am adding a constraint. Yeah, what's the new name? We say check. This one is check hours. This one is check salary. What am I checking? So the constraint is called check. What am I checking? I'm checking the salary, and the salary should not be greater than 10,000. Okay. What am I doing wrong? Add constraint name. Maybe I do not need that. I do need that. I'm just gonna run it and see what the error is. Your syntax. Who can point out what's my mistake? I'm sure it's something very simple. Check S rate between. Okay, there is something wrong with my parentheses. Add constraint. I think the parenthesis should come here. Yes. Okay, my bad, guys. Check this. Okay. So that should work now. Unknown salary, because it is a salary. Done. Okay. Add column to store project manager ID to the project table. So this would be alter table project. What's the action? I'm adding a column, and for that the syntax is add column. What's the name of this column? It's called MGR ID. And it doesn't say anything about anything, so I'm gonna just make it integer. Okay, just like that. Then make sure the project manager is one of the staff members. Do you remember how to do this? Anytime that we're linking something to something, so here, let's say I'm adding MGR ID. I want to make sure that, where was that drawing which I liked? I want to make sure that I know this manager ID is one of the staff ID. How do we establish this link? Who remembers the syntax for that? Anytime we are making a link, we use the keyword foreign key. Okay, just remember that. So alter table. I'm altering the table project. Adding a foreign key is a constraint. So the action is add constraint. What is that I'm adding is a foreign key. Let's call it something, add constraint fk mgrid. Okay, foreign key. What is my foreign key? The one that I just got created, manager ID. And what's the syntax for a foreign key? It's references the table that I'm taking it from, which is a staff, the column I'm taking it from, which is SID. Okay, we are doing the same thing. It's just that our column name now is manager ID and it's linked to SID. Okay, so we did that. I have an extra parenthesis, references. Okay, I'm getting tired, I think. Okay. Now, this is a little tricky. It says, do everything to remove the manager ID. How do I remove? Alter table. What's the action? Drop. What is it that I'm dropping? A column. What is this column? It's called MGR ID. Let's say I do not know that I need to do something else. Alter table, table name, project. Okay. If I try to do this, it gives me error. Why? Because this column is now linked. If I want to drop something that there is a link, I first need to get rid of the link. How do I get rid of the link? It's by dropping the constraint that I made to create the link. This is what I made to create the link. Now, in order to drop this, I need to first drop the link. That would be alter table project. What's the action? I'm dropping something. What am I dropping? I'm dropping a constraint. Constraint. What's the name of this constraint? Manager ID. Okay, so now this gets rid of this. So this becomes like that. And only then I can then drop it. Okay, remember that. Very tricky question. Now I'm gonna make this one a little faster, okay? Let's have a look. Do you guys know how to go about this, or should I solve it? Hands up if you want me to solve it. You want me to solve it? You guys are tired? Nobody's here? I solve it? Okay. Now, what's the rule? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It says, let's just follow the rule here. It says, every class is a table. So everything I have, only one person wants to continue. That's okay. So create table users, create table users. Okay, I'm just gonna put the create table statements for now, and then we'll go back to everything. We have users, users, habit, chickens. So it's not chicken, chickens. So user, we have habits, we have, where did I get the alter from? Create table. And then we have check ends. Then we have coach comments. So we're gonna come back here and say create table. I'm just following the first thing, no? Just create a table statement for every coach. And last one, not last one actually. Then we have comments. Okay, at this point, I don't care about what the table is. Yeah, I just want to create them. And then here there was another box, which I forgot. There is this box, no? It says every box is a table user habit. So I'm gonna call this user habit. Okay, what's the next step? Again, yeah, if you follow the instructions, you will never be lost. Okay, create a new table for many-to-many relation. So let's go back here and say, hey dudes, who is many-to-many? Let's see who gives us an answer. Users and habit. This relation is many-to-many. So I need to create a new table, but this is already created. So next one, habits and check-ins. Are you many-to-many? No, I'm one-to-many. Okay. User, habit, and comments. Are you many-to-many? No, I am one-to-many. This is a special kind of relation, which is called what? Weak entity. So you don't worry about the relation type there. This is another special relation, which is called is-a relation. So the only many-to-many relation that we had is already captured in the user habit, okay? The next one is to add attributes. What's attribute? User ID, name, habit number. So I'm just gonna put the primary keys, okay? Keeping my life easy. So it's user ID, which is called an integer, and it's primary key. This is gonna take too long. Name and habit number. Why I have a habit number? I'm just gonna put name, okay? I think something is wrong there. I did not check this. It's not me who made it, but I think something is wrong. User name, which is varchar 100. Okay, so we are just adding the columns. The habit has habit ID and habit name. So just gonna keep it simple. HID is integer, and it says it's a primary key, and H name is varchar 100. Okay, and then check-in has let's go one by one. User habit has since, and coach has a specialty. So I'm gonna go back to here and says coach has a specialty varchar 50. It doesn't matter. User habit has since, I believe this is date, yeah. Then check-in has habit check-in ID. We just call it check-in ID, and then date. Comments have date and text. Okay, so here we have CHID is integer primary key, and what was it? CH date, I think. Comments had comments ID. I will not put primary key here, and I will come back to that. And then we have comments date, which is a date. I forgot to do that here. A date, and then this one is an integer. Okay, so this is the most basic thing we can do, no? Now let's move on and then see. Okay. What do we have here? Here I have primary key, here I have primary key, here I have primary key. Coach, what is the primary key of the coach? So if you do not know, all you need to do is go through this. What is, we say that coach is a special relation. What's this relation? Is a relation. Same thing for comments, is a special relation. What's the relation? Is a weak entity. So what do I do about weak entity and coach? For weak entity or generalization, inherit the primary key from the dependent class. Very good. So I come here and say, coach, who are you dependent on? I am dependent on the user. So I'm going to copy that key here. Comments, who are you dependent on? On check-ins. So I'm going to copy that key. Okay. Then what do we do? Then I will tell you what to do. So check-in, that's okay. So coach, comma, I'm just going to put this one like that. So we say that it's going to copy the user ID, no? The key of the dependent. What's the key of the dependent? The user ID. User ID, integer, okay, comma. Now, what is the primary key? This very same one, primary key, okay? Okay, then in the comments as well, we had, we say that we need to copy from the check-in, which is CHID, which is an integer. Now, is this a primary key? No. For a weak entity, a primary key would be a combination of what? let's go back. A combination of this guy who is attached to the table and the primary key of the table. The primary key of the table is CHID and this one is COMID. So I'm gonna put that here. This one is comment ID from the same table. And then this one, which I'm copying from the other table. Okay, CHID. Again, all this is described here. Yeah, I'm not doing something that is not here. Yeah, it tells you to copy the primary key from the dependent class. Okay, then we had a many-to-many relation, no? It says copy the key of the linked tables, similar to what we did earlier, okay? So what was the many-to-many relation? This one, the user habit was the many-to-many relation, no? So first I need to copy, sorry. First I need to copy the columns, okay? To copy the columns. So the dependent table was user ID. I'm gonna copy that here. And then the other table was habits. So habit ID. I'm gonna copy that. Yeah. And then the primary key for this one is user ID and HID. But this is incomplete and incorrect, which means if I do this, it means each user can have one habit. Yeah, to avoid that, we add this since date to the primary key. Okay. So since then, this is my, let me see if I need to, I don't think I need to do that actually. So user123 can be sport, user123 can be movie. No, I don't need to add that. So the primary key is a combination of the copy keys, okay? After we deal with the primary key, which we did, what do? We go to the foreign key, okay? If one-to-one relation, copy the primary key attribute of one table to the other table. So let's look here. Who is one-to-one relation? Who is one-to-one relation? Is I am many-to-many, I am one-to-many, I am one-to-many. So no one-to-one relation. And this is done already. Okay. So next one. If one-to-many, copy the primary key attribute of the one side to the many side. What does it mean? Let's come here and find. Is there a one-to-many? There is a one-to-many. It says copy the primary key of the one side, which is user habit, to the many side, which is the comments. Okay, so I need to copy from here to here. How do I do that? So I need to go to the comments because comments is the many side. Yeah. And first I need to copy the keys. Yeah, otherwise I cannot establish. Now, what is the primary key of the user habit? The primary key of user habit is 2 columns. So I'm gonna copy both columns, 2 comments. Okay. And both these common columns needs to be a foreign key. So we say, you can keep it simple and put it here. Yeah. So references, which table? This is referencing user habit. It's the same thing we did. Which column? The user ID. Okay. Same thing here. This HID. I'm just gonna copy this part because it's the same. If I am going too fast, let me know. HID. Okay. So we're done with this foreign key. Let's go back. and read the description again. So we deal, there is another one, I think. Is there any more one-to-many? Yes, there is one more one-to-many. What do? I copy the key from the many side, sorry, from the one side to the many side. So I need to copy from habits to check-in. So we come back here. From habits, what's the primary key is this one. So first I need to add it as a key, as an attribute. Okay. And then I would say, let's do it properly as well. So you can get, so foreign key, which one is a foreign key? HID, references, which table? It's referencing the habits table. Which column in the habit table? The HID. Okay. I need to add this one. Okay. So we're done with one-to-many. Let's go back to the description, and it says, if a table has a reference to primary key from another table, this mentioned here, which is weak entity, generalization, and many-to-many. Do we have a weak entity? Yes. If we have a weak entity, which is this one, yeah, and I am copying, sorry, which was, weak entity was this one. Which weak entity was this one? Yeah, and I'm using a column from the other table. I need to add the references on this one as well. So references. So this CHID is coming from the check-in. Check-in. So which column in the check-ins is the CHID? Okay. Do I have an is-a relation? I had one, which was coach, I think, no? Yeah. So this one I copied from this one. Then I need to add the foreign key. So I add comma, foreign key. What's the foreign key? It's user ID, references. Where is it coming from? It's coming from the users table. Which column in the user table? It's user ID. Okay. Do I have a many-to-many relation? So I'm going through the same list, yeah? It says weak entity, generalization. Do I have any many-to-many relation? I had one many-to-many relation, which was, who remembers? What was that? It was many-to-many was here. So user habits. So user habits is many-to-many. I'm copying this from other tables. So I need to say this is references. This is coming from the users table and the user ID. And then here is the same thing. I need to say this is coming from the habits table and it's linked to HID. Okay. Now, what do we do on delete or on update? Now, if nothing is said, the least you have to do is for weak entities and generalization, you have to say on delete cascade, on update cascade. So which one was a weak entity? So let's have a look. Comments is a weak entity. So whatever has a references on the weak entity called comments, we say here on delete cascade, on update cascade. Again, there is another foreign key that is linked to the parent table. This is the one from the parent table, okay? The other ones, we don't care. Yeah, this one that comes from the parent table should say on delete cascade and update cascade. Do we have a generalization? I think coach is a generalization, this one. And this one is the parent table. So we say on delete cascade, on update cascade. Now, if you notice, I'm not putting commas, okay? I'm just listing them, okay? The rest depends on the description, no? I don't know anything right now because it doesn't say anything. If it doesn't say anything, just leave it, I believe, or just check with Dr. Farhad what to do if you have no explanation about what to do. Save that. Any questions? Well, let's just stop.